All right, I just wanted to show this very limited space being used to the max right now. So first of all, we have to pour one out for our programmable load here, which even though I've done the same test on it multiple times, decided that the innards were going to explode and let out the magic smoke. So we'll open that up and see what happened. Probably blew out the MOSFETs. Try to fix that eventually, but fortunately I've got pretty much double or triple or 10 of everything. So this guy has filled in his shoes there. We'll get back to him more in a second. So I just wanted to talk about the layout here. So first of all, I've got those 200 modules that came in yesterday. I've got them on here. Each layer of this shelf, so 1, 2, and then eventually 3, weighs about the same as a Honda Insight. So this shelf is not, it's not as janky as it looks. It's actually got, you can see it has 6 studs, and it doesn't use regular screws. It uses these gigantic things, and there's 3 of them, so not worried about it falling. Also not worried about the slab, which has 6,000 pounds almost on it there, because there are some major footers there, and actually quite a lot of the weight of the house comes down here anyway, because we have LVLs there. If you've seen, they're actually glue lamps, but if you've seen the South Park where they're going to put an LVL everywhere, this house is the epitome of that. But enough about the house, let's talk about what we're doing. So right now, all of these modules that are wrapped in red, this is basically as I've received them. And so the first thing I do is I bring them over to this station here. And this station, I measure the voltage, and if the cell is less than a certain voltage, I will charge it. And if it's greater than a certain voltage, then I will discharge it. I can charge much more quickly than I can discharge. I can charge about 3 kilowatts. I can only discharge it at about 300 watts right now. But most of the cells are actually low. Lower than this value. This is just the arbitrary value I set there. So from there, the modules come all the way across over to here where they're waiting to have a circuit board put on them. So I take the circuit board that comes on them off, and then I replace it with another one that works with LiBCM. And then I also have to cut off some plastic pieces there. By the way, nothing in this video is new. I've just only shown each individual system before, and I'm just kind of showing you the whole process, which is basically a full-time job because you are having to keep all of these little machines doing all these things for you happy. And so once we get the circuit board on it, it comes over to here, and here we're waiting in queue for this balancer. This basically charges, it does the final charge and or discharge and then balancing of all of the cells. And it has, I've shown it before, but it has some very high power rated resistors that I'm blowing air directly on, so it can balance, I don't even remember, 10 or 20 times faster than LiBCM can. And that's why we use this first equipment to get it close to whatever the final voltage is, because 300 or 3 kilowatts is much faster than this thing is doing, 1 watt per channel or whatever. It charges it, I think, 6 amps or whatever. But it only discharges it, I think, 1 watt per channel. So once these get finished here, I lay them down in queue here, and this is my master set of what all of the labels are. And I basically copy that. Each one of these has a pack so that I know that the right labels are all going on. If I have leftover labels, for example, I know I did something wrong. And then from here, once they're all labeled, these are not labeled yet, they come over to here where they go on the discharger. So this discharger basically is making sure that the cell delta does not get too high, which would indicate that a cell is damaged. So we're discharging, and if this looks like a dryer vent heater, that's because it is. It's been massively repurposed, but it's a very cheap way to dump a lot of energy. This is dumping probably around 3 or 4 kilowatts. So it's nice and toasty over here. Garage gets very, very warm. Once that's done, once this is discharged, I basically make sure our cell delta makes sense. This pack actually started at an 8 millivolt delta, so it's only increased about 2 millivolts. And that's just because of things, speed versus accuracy trade-offs, etc. 10 millivolts is nothing to worry about, and you can drive the car all day long like that. So I'm not balancing these for perfection. I'm balancing them so that you don't have to spend a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks getting them to work, because these packs come in at all kinds of different voltages. So once these are done here, they basically go on the shelf underneath, and I have a bunch of modules under here and they're kind of in queue. So what's going to happen is I didn't even load that shelf up. I literally just put all those modules here when I was unloading it. And then I'm pulling off of this shelf, and then I will put the finished ones down there, and then next I will bring this shelf down to there, and then finally I will put this shelf up there. So when this is done, this shelf holds 192 modules, and they weigh 26 pounds a piece. So I've been very considerate of the weight of everything. This table right here probably has 800 pounds of modules on it. This one I'm limiting it to just the 7 modules. But then that guy, of course, I built specifically for this purpose to kind of maximize the room there. It kind of harks back to the lack of space. So this space that I'm using is, you know, it's not very big. I've shown it before, but this is where I do the majority of the work. The only other place I do any work on LiBCM is actually assembling the circuit boards, which I do in my office. I have a solder station with a vent hood, like a fume extractor. So that's the only thing I do in the other room. Everything else, LiBCM, gets done in this tiny little space. Yeah, so this is by far maxing it out. So one thing is that these modules are available for pickup whenever you want. So if you want to come to Chattanooga and pick them up, I've just finished the first 4-pack there. This will be the first 5-pack when it's done, so that's 60S or 48S. And I'm just going to be making these for the next several days, probably a week it's going to take to run through all these modules. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. This is a full-time job because it is. I basically finally got this thing to where everything was happy or whatever and running, but this is very infrequent. And on the rare case that is happening, I'm not having to like change that module or that module or these modules or this module, because those are all under test all the time. I'm sitting over here basically when I have free time, either eating, which you can see I haven't done, or putting on these circuit boards. So anyway, yeah, this is a lot of work, but it's I really enjoy it. So it's fun. It's neat to do mindless things and watch movies and whatnot, catch up on films and whatnot. Anyway, yeah, as always, thanks for watching.